Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is the Worst Case Scenario podcast. We're here to talk some sports and some looting and rioting because that's what we do. I'm your host, Phil. With me, we got D'Lo. Say what up, D'Lo.
What up?
And we got Bennett. He ain't got no picture. He ain't got no B. But it's him. Say what up, Bennett.
What up? I'm incognito. I didn't want to. I've been doing a little bit of rioting myself in my local area. I don't want to put my face out there, and
Has he been rioting or rioting? I'm not sure.
Rioting.
We were sitting here talking.
I ain't trying to do no harm to anybody. I just want to watch some shit burn.
He's rioting in the Margaret projects.
Well, we were just talking before we came on live. We were talking about the rioting and the looting in Los Angeles. And, hey, let's start it off, boys. Let's talk a little rioting, a little looting. Bennett, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's going on in Los Angeles.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with rioting if you do it the right way. And these fucking people are not doing it the right way.
Well, how is the right way, one might ask? Tell us, Bennett.
I mean, you got to enjoy yourself while you're doing it. These guys are out there for a real cause. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on, man. What kind of fucking fun is that? I'm talking about like a good old-fashioned riot, like after a sports game and your team lost and you don't like that shit. Maybe the ref like blew a call and then you just get out in the parking lot and like throw some shit through somebody's window. Then next thing you know, you're setting that car on fire. Next thing you know, you're 2 blocks away throwing some shit through a department store window. I'm not talking about standing up for what you believe in. That shit is dumb.
Huh. Well, all right. Hey, what do you think about this rioting and looting, D'Lo?
I think it's fucking nuts, man. You know, the thing about it is you got people that have broke the law and they're out there trying to riot and say what's right. Dude, you're already criminals. You broke the law when you came to our country undocumented. So I mean, you can't really get anywhere when you're already in the wrong from the jump. So,
allegedly, I like to throw that allegedly.
No,
I agree with D'Lo. I agree. So you shouldn't be illegal, or you shouldn't be already have committed a crime before you start committing the crime. Like that's the whole point of the riot. Crime there. We don't want premeditated felons on it. We want somebody new, a fresh face out there.
Look, they're like, you're not sending us back. Fuck America. They don't want to leave here. They don't want to go back while they're hoisting up a Mexican flag. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I did see that too. They also got Palestinian flags out there. I guess they're the same color, but yeah, you make a good point, Phil. You are literally in America bitching about the government trying to make you leave to go back to your country that you don't want to go to because your country is dog shit.
Well, you're trashing on America, but you're raising the Mexican flag. It was it's serendipitous. I mean, really, it is. It's asinine to think that America's going to put up with it. So when Trump's like, okay, so like, and Gavin Newsom's doing nothing out there. He's saying he has it under control. The mayor of Los Angeles is saying that they have it under control. And so Trump's like, you don't.
He's not doing nothing. He's actually filed a lawsuit, so he's doing something. He filed a fucking lawsuit against Donald Trump for Trump sending the National Guard there to help out. What kind of fucking moron is this guy?
Well, Trump said you didn't do anything. Shit was getting worse. So he was like, I'm sending the National Guard in. And then when it got even worse after that, then he said, all right, dude, I'm deploying Marines there. And I watched a lot of these Marines posting videos on X, and most of them were like, you don't want to go home? We'll send you home. Like, they didn't care because they love America. They love the United States of America. They're not going to put up with it. And I just love it when they're like, it's peaceful protesting, and you see people throwing bricks at cop cars and shit on overpass.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Right after that video came out of the bricks getting thrown, Donald Trump said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to issue the Marines out. And he goes, at this point, I'm looking at it as though if you spit, we hit. So
yeah,
that means if them fuckers make a move, dude, we're gonna go ahead and fuck them up, dude.
Well, if you guys haven't
So-
checked it out, you got to check out the Hodge twins, conservative twins. They posted a video about the View, and the View was like, "It's peaceful protesting." Like this is Donald Trump because they're talking about he's throwing a parade for himself coming up and shit, and they're like, "This is just Donald Trump being Donald Trump," and I'm like, "You're right. This is Donald Trump being Donald Trump. You don't fuck with America." And that's one thing that he's always talked about, that you could trash on Donald Trump for 100 different things. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll admit that there are things that he does that makes you scratch your head. But man,
Well,
he does love this country. And in times like this, I would rather have him than Joe Biden or Kamala Harris.
I think he loves this country when he's in charge of it because he loves himself. Because he sure didn't love America too much when Biden was in charge.
Well, and I tell you, dude, Trump is somebody that is not okay with people disagreeing with him. When people
No.
disagree with him, I mean, dude, he will do everything in his power to rip you down. So I mean, he's definitely not up for debate on things, man. He wants to come out and be the iron fist and all that shit. So that's a fucked up technique to use, man, because this is supposed to be the free world and we're not supposed to have dictators. But at the same time, I mean, some drastic measures had to be taken to get things back in order.
I agree. Sometimes when you got unruly people, you need a fucking iron hand, and that's what they need right now.
Yeah.
I made jokes about the right and shit, but I mean that's just totally. It's not something you should do as a responsible adult. Just go out into the streets and fucking throw bricks through other people's property, set shit on fire. I mean, you're a fucking lunatic. And if you think you're doing something right, maybe you think in your head you're doing something right, but you are definitely not going about it the right way.
Well, the thing about it is these people want to prove that the illegal immigrants are over here just to go to work and things like that, but yet, they're shutting down highways and they're destroying vehicles and they're
at work right now when they're throwing bricks.
Yeah,
they ain't at work then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. So, but
I'd like to get into something else since we were talking about Trump though, and we were talking about how Trump handles business, and and he shuts shit down, shuts people down. He goes about it sometimes in a brash way. But what do you guys think about him and Elon going at it for the last couple of weeks? It finally cooled off this weekend, but man, there was some funny shit said between those two. But they backed down from each other eventually.
Ranger.
They got pretty serious. I mean, Elon went as far as to say that Trump was on the Epstein list, and
He did. He said, "Why can't we see the Epstein list?" He said, "Because Trump's on it."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some serious shit.
What's that,
We all know
Phil?
Trump was not on no Epstein list. Let's be real about.
I mean,
this.
we don't know that, but you know what I'm saying? I
He
mean,
may or may not be. That's not even the thing. The thing is, we finally found someone that's going to get low down and dirty as Trump is, stand up to him, and talk mad shit right back to him. Whether it's true or not, for him to say that is outrageous.
It took somebody being on the spectrum, you know what I'm saying? Because Elon's a little bit autistic.
Took somebody with more money. Took somebody with more money than Trump has. That's what it took.
Yeah, that's true. He don't give a fuck about the money because Elon's got enough of that. So, but,
I just love it because it's two billionaires going back and forth and like talking shit to each other, and it's like they couldn't fight. You know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't see Elon and Trump like getting in a fist fight, but they are some badass keyboard warriors. Just like,
well, I remember when Elon was like, well, I'm willing to get in the ring with Mark Zuckerberg. And then he realized that Mark Zuckerberg actually really like does that shit. And he's like, whoa. I was just playing, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he said, I'm willing to hire somebody to get in the ring with Mark Zuckerberg.
I will put him in there with one of my robots.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you had Trump talking shit about Tesla and electric cars and shit. It was funny. It was actually something to watch.
My favorite part was when he threatened to when he threatened to cut all Elon Musk government contracts. I was like, damn, dude, he's talking about getting in his pockets now.
And that's when he responded with, he's on the Epstein list. Just some, you know, they're talking about how they're arresting them when they go to court, because they go to court and then they find out that they're illegal and they're fucking nabbing them. And they said, like they said, when are you supposed to arrest them then? You know, if you're dumb enough to come to court, they're going to arrest you. And
I mean, they're getting all kinds of pissed off about people coming into like going to schools, and I guess a 12-year-old kid got his jaw broke the other day by an ICE officer and things like that. So you know, I mean, there's definitely a little mismanagement going on there, but
but we don't know how much of that shit is propaganda.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like you said, you know, when things get to a certain point, man, it's like you've got to come in and just go, dude. Like it's just got to be balls to the wall until they get this shit under control, and then they can start to settle it down a little bit when they have gotten some of this shit under control a little bit. So,
well, I've seen a report. Seen a report like they had back in 2020 that someone had they had pallets of bricks out on the corner, just randomly a pallet of bricks.
Somebody's funding it, and they're placing.
Well, they're saying. I seen a thing last night. I watched this show. It's a dude that he like trains in MMA and shit, but he always hits on like different subjects and shit. Dude's named Jesse. This channel's Jesse on Fire. But anyway, this dude was talking about. He goes, "How you gonna tell me this shit's not CIA funded and shit, dude? Or government funded?" He said, dude, there's pallets of bricks perfectly placed for these people to throw and shit. And there's, you know, they're like, these fires just pop up out of nowhere. Like, you know, there won't even be people around certain areas, and all of a sudden there'll be fires started in these areas and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like the old JFK thing, man. The government's turning on Trump.
You know, sometimes they're worried about what he's gonna release, and I don't know, man. It's this.
I think it's more that they're worried about him initiating civil war within the country. I don't think it's, you know, he's proven that he can hold secrets. I mean, you know, he's held tactical secrets and all that shit. But my big thing is, I think they're worried about him like initiating civil war, man, because he just don't give a fuck. And he's doing shit. One of the stipulations to ICE is you just didn't have you couldn't be a part of any kind of racist propaganda for 5 years. So if you've been cleaning that stuff for 5 years, you could become an ICE agent. So
I don't know. I just
and that just basically what that means is you just don't post any stuff on your social media that says you're part of any racist propaganda. So
well, I can't be an ICE member.
Yeah, oh no, definitely not. Yours starts over every 5 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. I just
5 more years for a minute.
I think that once he sends the Marines in, the Marines aren't going to be like the cops. Yeah, Marines aren't going to handle you throwing a brick at them. The cops, I saw a dude, 3 cops fight one dude, and that dude fucked him up and then took off running. They were like, fuck it. They didn't even chase him anymore. They were like,
but you know, dude, my thing is like, now you're absolutely right that the Marines are going to take force. I think my biggest thing is what happens when a shot is fired in that crowd, and then that you know, it's one thing to be doing hand-to-hand combat. You know, they're throwing a brick, so I'm beating their ass with a baton. But what happens when a shot gets fired and those soldiers raise those fucking machine guns, submachine guns up and start firing on the crowd?
Hey, let's get real. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And if you have listen, if they're gonna bust you with a brick, then you gotta bust them with a bullet. It's like, and who knows?
I figured that they're probably using more baton type shit or mace or something with the brick throwers. But like I said, I just think it's a matter of time before somebody fires.
They'll probably go after them at first with non-lethal shit, like more rubber bullets and
Yeah.
like that.
The Marines?
Yeah.
You think that they're going to put up with
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think they have armed the Marines with non-lethal shit because they're in riot mode, dude. They're there to just crowd contain and keep the peace. So
I think there's more than likely a case for a civilian to fire the first shot before the military.
that's what I'm expecting is a civilian to fire the first
And
shot. But what
try to
happens?
start something off, like that, pop something off like that.
Yeah, but what happens if a civilian fires the first shot and then all of a sudden all the Marines turn them submachine guns onto the crowd, dude? Like that's when shit's gonna get wild, dude.
But let me ask you this, guys: how do you defend this? Like, how do you defend what's happening now as liberals, Democrats, whatever you want to say? How do you defend this, but then come down hard on the January 6th people and say what they did was so wrong? And I'm not saying that what they did wasn't wrong.
It's the same thing.
But I mean,
here's the thing. Actually, Gavin Newsom is actually suing Trump right now.
Yes.
The reason he filed the lawsuit was because they marched on the Capitol building in California, and Trump sent the National Guard there, and Gavin Newsom, dude, they didn't even do anything but block him from taking the building, and Gavin Newsom filed the lawsuit on Trump. So, I mean, they want this shit.
Trump's sending the people to help him out there, and if Gavin Newsom's saying he's got it control, but he doesn't, and so he sent the National Guard in, and Gavin Newsom is upset about Trump trying to help him out and says he's only doing it for his parade this week so that way he has a talking point. Like, he's trying to help your people. Maybe the city of Los Angeles wants the Guard there. Maybe they want the Marines there because they're sick of this shit.
So
I got one more thing to add. I actually think I think January 6th was not as bad as this. And here's my reasoning for that. When you did that shit at January 6th, you were rushing a government building. And right now, what you're doing is fucking, besides like the police cars and stuff like that, but you're destroying public property, other people like business owners shit, other people's cars and shit. Those people pay for that shit.
Private property.
Well, I got a little bit of anti-government in me because you go and fuck up the Capitol building. That's our tax money. It's going to pay to repair that shit. There's plenty. The money's got unlimited amount of money. But when you go and fuck up a personal shop owner's fucking shit and destroy their property or someone's car, that's a citizen that you're fucking with. Those people we ain't got the fucking means just to go out and replace a fucking vehicle.
Here's what I will take. The difference between the two is there were some bad people in the January 6th, but most of them they marched on the building. Some of them went inside, but they weren't necessarily tearing it apart. Compared to you have a city with thousands of people that are throwing bricks, that are attacking people, that are looting, that are setting shit on fire. How much shit?
I think you're a little off on the. Well, no, there were fires outside of the Capitol, but not in the building. But they broke into the politicians' offices, were sitting at their desk, acting like they were using their phones, and then they actually broke they broke the window into Assembly Hall, and that's our Congressional Hall or whatever it is, and that's where that girl got shot trying to climb through that window.
Yeah, but once again, that was one of their own people that got hurt. They didn't kill anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and like I said, we took it off the table. We said January 6th.
I don't know what you mean by. I don't know what you mean by one of their own people. Yeah, like. Yeah, it was one of the people that was in.
Yeah, it wasn't like, and there was an officer that died later on, but it wasn't from the injuries. Then he had a heart attack, and it wasn't like he was beaten to death or set on fire or shot or anything like that. But we said January 6th was bad, but this is so much worse. And just like the Black Lives riots that happened, there were people that were doing Black Lives Matter that were peaceful protests. I'll say that. But other ones, they were destroying whatever. You know what I'm saying? And this is, I can understand if they went and they just fucked up the ICE building, because that's what they're against is ICE. But they're not just destroying ICE. They're attacking other things and setting people's cars on fire. You know, they have nothing to do with ICE. That's where it goes above and beyond and is worse, in my opinion, than January 6th. And worse, we said both are wrong, but this is way worse, man. And those people had American flags on January 6th. They were upset something political. You know what I'm saying? This goes far and beyond, because these people have Mexican flags. It has nothing to do with the United States. They're out there waving Mexican flags.
Oh, no. Now it's to the point now where they're saying, like I said, that's their land, that we took it from them, and now we're trying to kick them off of land that we stole. And
no, they lost the war.
So.
You lost. That's like England coming back and they're like, you took America from us. Now you lost the war. You lost.
Yeah.
Like, that's no longer your. You can say whatever, but I mean, Mexicans didn't own that land. You know, the Spaniards came in and took it from the Mayans and the Incas and all them. Like, they were no different than the people from Europe that came here to America and took it from the Native Americans.
It just makes you wonder why they're not over there protesting in their own country about, you know, why they don't feel safe over there and why they don't, why they don't make a decent wage over there and all that shit.
Their country don't let them get away with it. Their country, they do. If you have some kind of rise up in another foreign country like this, you are going to have, not only will you have like National Guard or whatever they got, the army, they will open fire on you. And if you, the first thing is they'll start you beating you down, and they're going to prosecute you to the fullest. You don't have a First Amendment right. You don't have all those fucking rights that says you can just go out here and do whatever you want. If you start becoming unruly, you're going to get your ass beat and maybe shot.
Oh yeah, and I've heard in them other countries about how them political protesters get sentenced to death and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not allowed to raise up against the government like that.
I just don't. And then people say they did nothing wrong. Like, if you came across the border illegally, you broke our laws here. That doesn't mean you get to stay here. You know what I'm saying? And if you come over illegally,
I mean, I guess the one thing that I don't agree with is when someone's over here illegally and they have a child, they shouldn't split the parents and the child up. They should give the parents the choice to take.
You put the child back in Mexico.
But that's not what they've been. That's not what they've been doing. They've been saying that the child's a citizen and the parents aren't, and ICE has been taking the parents, and the state has been taking control of the child.
See, I don't agree with that. Yeah, I agree that you should send them back with their family. Like, it's insane, and I'm sure
that's when you get into all kinds of red tape to where you get a lawyer.
You're deported.
This is an American citizen. Their parent has the right to stay here too. You get in all kinds of red tape and everything with that.
Well, that's the shit that he put a stop to right when he got back into office. Was he said, just because you had a kid here doesn't make you a citizen. You know what I mean? And so people were raising all kinds of hell. Well, and it's kind of caused a lot of confusion and within the ICE, because they have been deporting parents.
That situation.
How do you fix it? You tell Mexico any child that is born over here to illegal immigrant parents is a dual citizen. They are going to go back to Mexico with their parents, and then when they turn 18, they'll have the choice to come back here if they want to. That's it. You know, that's exactly how you fix it.
I agree. I mean, it's a touchy subject, but I mean, you have to have borders. You can't have open borders where people can just roam and do whatever, because then you could just come here, kill somebody, and then be like, guess what? I'm jetting back across. You know, it's.
Yeah, but you know, dude, when you're creating orphan children and shit, dude, you're getting into war crimes, and that's the type of shit that, you know what I'm saying, it makes our country look real bad when we start doing war crimes against humanitarian.
I'd never even thought of that. That's a brilliant I mean, that's a brilliant fix right there. What you said.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like if they were born here, say they got to go back with their parents, but at the same time, when they're 18, they are considered a dual citizen, so they'll have the choice to come back here. But right now, they have to go with their parents, man. That's just simple as that.
At the same time, D'Lo, why not give the parents a choice? Because if something like this would happen between like me and my kids, you and your kids, Phil and his kids, we're not going to leave our kids in a foreign country. If they let us take our kids with us, even if our country's usually in a shittier place, we're going to take our kids back with. We want our kids with us.
Yeah,
yeah,
our kids are more protected.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Than anywhere else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they should be given the choice to take their kids, and it should be told right there. They are a citizen of the United States, and when they're 18, they can come back. But we're not going to raise your child for you just because you had them over here. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
All right, boys. Let's move on. We spent almost a half an hour talking about the LA riots.
That's a big subject.
Yeah, let's talk about one of the bigger news over the last week. Aaron Rodgers signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't really feel like it's that big of news because I feel like after his 2-year stint with the Jets, he seems less important. What do you guys think, D'Lo? What's your opinion on Rodgers signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I don't think the signing itself is huge news. What I believe is that the bigger news here is how a historic franchise such as the Pittsburgh Steelers allowed him to basically hold them hostage through the draft, through free agency, all that shit, and he even came in late to minicamp. Like he's just doing what he wants, and you just wouldn't expect a historic franchise like the Steelers to allow some shit like that to happen.
I agree. Bennett, what's your take on Rodgers?
I'm not shocked at all because that's what Rodgers does. He either dictates the situation or there's no situation. It's his way or no way. He's always been like this his whole career. I think that's how he is as a person. I mean, he's great as a quarterback in the NFL. A lot of people like him as a human being, but like I look at like some of the underneath shit that I've seen, how like he reacts to stuff, and he basically, like you said, holds hostage. He makes demands and makes like there's no proof that he made the Jets go out and sign all those former fucking Packers players. There's no proof. But I mean, come on. It's not just a coincidence either. Come on. Like he was running that organization for, a good part of it. At least it feels like it to me. And he tried to dictate his way in Green Bay, and that's why Green Bay kicked him out in the first place, because, yes, he was good, but they got fed up with this shit.
The crazy thing is Antonio Brown's crazy ass came out and tweeted a thing the other day and said, Aaron Rodgers came up to me in February and asked if I was ready to win another Super Bowl in Pittsburgh. And or maybe it was March or something. But anyway, so he was already and I believe it, dude. I believe that Rodgers believes that he can recruit like that on any team and bring whoever he wants in.
Yeah.
So you guys, what does it make the Steelers better in your guys' opinion, Bennett? What's your opinion? I mean,
I don't think so. And here's my Aaron Rodgers is an elite quarterback. Yes, now he is older. He has age. We've seen at least, some of his stuff decline, or at least it looks like his plays decline a little bit. That's not even what concerns me. It's his attitude, his prima donna shit that everywhere he goes, he causes problems. I don't want that in my locker room ever.
It is toxic for sure.
D'Lo, does it make them better in your opinion?
Man, I don't know if it makes them better, like as far as equates to more wins or losses. But what I think you're going to see a better product on the field than you would see with Mason Rudolph, man. At least Rodgers can play the position decent. It's not, he may not be near the level that he once was, but he's still a lot better quarterback than Mason Rudolph. What I'm curious to see is how he treats Will Howard. you know, is he going to come in and embrace him and be somebody that helps the rookie out, or is he just going to shun him? You know, so
let me ask you guys:
He'll shun him.
what's their win-loss record in your guys' opinion? Bennett,
I'm gonna.
I think it's the same with or without Steelers. I think it's 10-7. They make the wild card like they do every year, no matter what.
I was going to say 9-8, so we're right in the same vicinity. I don't think they make the wild card, but I think they get just over 500 like Tomlin always does.
They make the playoffs like every year.
you guys,
they have a winning record.
I think they miss. Yeah, they have a winning record, but it's usually just right above 500, man. Like they've missed the playoffs a few years for sure.
I'm more interested in seeing any kind of what happens if Tomlin and Rodgers bump heads. I'm more interested in that.
I don't think it'll be Tomlin and Rodgers. I think it'll be
Mooney.
That offensive coordinator that's there. He's bumped heads with a few people prior to it. God damn it. Yeah, it's that dude that was in Tennessee. What's his name? He's bumped heads with a few quarterbacks already. Shit, I can't remember his name, man.
Adam Gase.
No, but it's sort of like that. So,
all right. Well, I want to move on to this. I know this is a big one for D'Lo. Let's talk Pacers, Oklahoma City. We got Game 3 coming up. What's your guys' opinion on who's going to win this game and why? D'Lo, go ahead.
I mean, I think the Pacers are going to take one at home. But my thing is, man, since they started this Oklahoma series, Oklahoma City series, they've been turning the ball over like crazy, man. I mean, unbelievable amount of turnovers. So they got to clean that up before they even have a chance to win. And they got to quit getting down early and trying to always climb back and make those heroic last second, comebacks and shit like that. They need to let themselves get a little bit out in front sometimes. So we'll see how it plays out, man. But I mean, the Pacers are a gritty team. They don't quit. That's for sure. They've got more fourth quarter comebacks in the playoffs, I believe now, than any other team. And it's just they're gritty, but when you're playing against a good team like Oklahoma City that is solid on defense and shit like that, those heroic fourth quarter comebacks don't come as frequent as they would against other teams. So,
Bennett, what's your prediction for Game 3? It's going to be in Indianapolis. It's tied up 1-1. What do you think? You think the Pacers take Game 3, or you think Oklahoma comes in and?
I don't know, man. Oklahoma is. I like what D'Lo said. Indiana's really gritty. They hang in there no matter what, even with all the screw ups, and they've had a shit ton.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City is. I mean, you can say what you want about them, but they don't have a lot of give up in them either. And I think they got a little bit more talent. They just got so much range. They're bigger. They're faster. I mean, with my Bulls not being in it, I'm going to root for the Pacers. It's something I don't do like in NFL, but like if the Pacers are in there and the Bulls ain't, and then I'm especially the Pacers never won a championship, correct?
Not in the NBA,
right? Absolutely. Yeah. They had maybe in the ABA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm rooting for the Pacers. I don't see them win Game 3. If they get one, I think it's Game 4.
They've already got. Well,
one thing.
I know they won the first
before
one.
we move on real quick, I just want to say one thing real quick. As I watch these games, man, I noticed one thing. The OKC has 2 7-footers. They got Hartenstein and Holmgren. And Holmgren is a lot like Miles Turner. He likes to play on the outside. Well, Hartenstein plays more down low, and that's where they're killing us, man. They're killing us down low. And dude, Miles Turner will not get down in the paint and get dirty for nothing, man. He wants to stay on the outside. He's not battling for offensive rebounds or anything like that. He just, I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy to see his guards getting as many rebounds as he gets, you know. So.
Well, here's the other thing. Rick Carlisle is an excellent coach for Indiana. And this is the one thing I said when the series started. If there's a way to beat him, really, it's out-coach him. And one of the guys from work, he asked me, he's like, what do you mean? I said, beat him up. You know what I mean? Do like the old fucking late 80s, early 90s Pistons, man. Go beat him up. Like, don't put your starters in there, especially like you're saying with Hartstein down there in the middle. Don't put your starters in there. Put your fucking backup in there and just let them pound him. Let them foul out. Let them pound him. Let them regret every time they come in the paint. I think that would change the mindset. It would change your mindset to where don't get in the paint so much. You start. I'm telling you, you can get into the head of a good team and out coach them and out will them. You can play more physical basketball than them. You can get in the heads of them. I think that's their one shot. Like you said, they're gritty. They're going to stay in the fight the whole time. But I think you need to come up with a plan to get them in foul trouble or to beat them up physically and let them know that you're not just going to stand there and let them do whatever they want in the paint.
Well, I think it's going to go 7 games. I think that they're going to split in Indianapolis. I think just like that they did in OKC. I think that Pacers probably win game 3. Thunder probably win game 4, take it back. But I think it's going to go 7 games. I really do. And the Pacers are so good at home, man. And that crowd has been loud for them every game that they've had in the postseason. So, but it's just, I know during the Knicks series, I was hoping and praying that that Minnesota would somehow pull something out and win that series, because I knew how deep the bench was for OKC, and I knew that, you know, that they were a team that was going to test every little bit of what the Pacers had, and I don't know if the Pacers can hang with them in the long run or not. So. No, how many you think it goes 7 games?
I've been saying Pacers. I said before the series Pacers in 6, so I'll stick with it.
All right, Bennett.
I think OKC in 6. I don't see it going 7.
Oh.
But I mean, that's just what I think. Scientifically is what I would think. I am rooting for the Pacers all the way. I'd love to see the Pacers win it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan, and they beat us out, so I'm rooting them on. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. All right, boys. What's another topic we got? You guys, D'Lo, you want to throw one at us?
Man. I mean, is there really much more going on right now? Other than that, like I mentioned to you earlier, the Packers released All-Pro cornerback Jair Alexander. So, I mean, that's a big name free agent to hit the market. Really, other than that, man. Have the Ravens release who?
Tucker, their kicker.
Oh yeah, they cut him. Yeah. He's already putting his house up for sale in Baltimore and all that shit. So
you think he plays somewhere?
Time to get out of town.
Do you think
I don't know, man. I think he's probably going to be one of them untouchable guys that until things are sorted out, after the way the Deshaun Watson fiasco played out so far, I don't think anybody's going to take a chance on situations like that, man. And Deshaun Watson shit wasn't even most of it wasn't even due to his allegations. It was the injuries. He's just been injured since he's came back from it.
Yeah.
So,
Bennett, any other topics you want to talk about, bud?
No, I don't think so. We were talking a little bit about R-Truth before we got on here. I thought that was pretty cool. We've been staying up on that a little bit. That WWE R-Truth, Ron Killings, whatever you want to call him, and there was a big outpouring on the internet to bring him back. He's a been with the company for a long time. He's very entertaining. He's used more of a comedy act, but a very, very entertaining. And they released him, and then they brought him back Saturday at Money in the Bank, and then he showed up on Raw last night and cut his hair off. Cut his hair off. I get why he did it. I just don't know if he should have done it. I know that he was trying to cut his hair and switch his character to his real name and try to be like a more of a serious character, but damn, it did not look good.
Well, what he did was,
dude, yeah, I mean, the bald spots on his head were so bad, dude. Like, I was like, my God, man.
But what they do have, if they want to capitalize on it, this is a bigger story than anything else they got going right now. They could actually use this. I don't know if they will, because he's been such an underneath guy. He's attached to John Cena. John Cena's on his farewell tour. They could do something with this. Now, will they? That remains to be seen. But King of the Ring's coming up.
It's pretty awesome how I read about it and shit, and they said that Ron Killings or whatever made Nick Khan personally call him and negotiate the deal with him personally and shit. Like, yeah. So
you understand? But what he's trying to do is he's trying to do his old gimmick that he did in TNA in those years that he left WWE before he came back. He went to TNA and he won the NWA heavyweight title there, I think twice.
Yeah, he was a big deal.
Ron Killings, that's his real name. And serious.
He thinks that people will take him more seriously, and I think that WWE has so much talent that it's going to be hard for him to get. Like Bennett said, they could capitalize on it right now, but like for a down the road thing, how much of a push is he really going to get, man?
53 years old. He signed a 3-year contract. They said like 24 to 72 hours before the event on Saturday, and but I think that people wanted him back as R-Truth, as the funny guy.
Yeah, people loved that funny guy that was kind of clueless and dumb about shit. That's why we love you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but that's what they wanted, and so now I don't know is this going to wane, because what they wanted back was R-Truth. Now they're getting Ron Killings, and I don't know if that's what these people really wanted.
But maybe that's what he negotiated, Phil, because he gets his own self. He gets his own likeness now. So even if he goes somewhere, he can still use that name. He can make money. But at the same time, I'm thinking in his head, he was probably like, let me get off of this silly shit. Let me try to be me. Let me see if I can get over. I think it's too little, too late. Like you said, I think they wanted R-Truth back. They're going to get him now trying to do this, which he probably negotiated for the things that I said just previously, and also to prove that he can get over and do something. The problem is, like you said, he's 53. He does not look like he's 53. He's in great shape, besides that head.
Yeah.
But
here's what's nice.
I mean, right now he's white hot though, dude. So use him while you can, because I think that's gonna fade fast, man.
Here's what you got to appreciate is that the fans spoke up and the company listened. They didn't have to go out and get him, but they were chanting Monday and Friday night. They were chanting, "We want truth," and then they started chanting it at the pay-per-view. So I mean, they listened to the fans, and I mean, you got to think about this. I think me and Bennett talked about this the other day. The times that they've listened to the fans, Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan, those are to name a few where the fans spoke out about what they wanted. And CM Punk, the fans chanted for CM Punk, and WWE went out and brought him in. And like I said, I agree with you that he is white hot. And last night was actually a pretty good Raw for like starting storylines and everything else going into the summer. A lot of people want to see CM Punk and John Cena, and they're giving that to us now. It's got an interesting storyline with Punk's always been vocal about not wanting to go over to Saudi Arabia because their blood money and all this. for their human rights and all this shit that CM Punk's big on. And now he's going, and they're going to pay him, I mean, really nice sum of money to go over there. I don't know if they're going to give him the belt or not, but
that's part of the reason why he said that. That's why Cena said, now you're going to follow me to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Because he's never wanted to go there.
But so, like, they have 2 belts there. And when we're talking about Ron Killings, R-Truth, do they have him go after Gunther? Because actually, saying thank you to the fans, but he kind of came off more heelish.
A little bit, yeah.
It looks to me like he's going to kind of go in the heel route, but it's like Cena's playing the heel role right now too. So they're not going to pin 2 heels against each other. So
I don't think he can go after Gunther. I think your only shot, you can't even go after underneath guy or underneath the belt. I think your only shot, if you want to capitalize and do this right, I think he has to go after Cena, which is kind of weird since they just started the thing with Punk last night. I think he has to go after Cena. I think there might not be big money there when we see his next couple promos being a serious guy. But then again, hey, this guy's a good performer, man. Maybe he sells us on that he's serious.
No, that's the thing. I mean, he's always been really good at what he did, man. But like we talked about, you're gonna have to gauge this and see if he stays white hot or if that shit starts to fade real fast, man. So
I'm wondering, they have other companies? Do you have him go to TNA as part of WWE?
Even AAA, he would get over it like crazy. People,
do you have him win a belt? Because I don't believe that the Intercontinental or the United States is good enough for him right now.
I don't think you can do anything with him besides Punk or besides Cena.
But they just did that.
I know, but they didn't do it right. They rushed it.
No. Yeah.
I agree. I would have said you could have had him do something with Jay, had Jay kept the title last night, but Jay didn't. So therefore, it's kind of just like I agree. Or do you have him cost Punk, and then he goes into a thing with Punk?
Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals like you got to try to figure out a storyline that's going to keep going for him because Cena's done at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So he'll probably. You think it'll be WrestleMania will be his last show or what?
No, his last one. It's actually it's going to be a Saturday night main event in Boston in December, and that's his last match. He's done. He said the end of the year.
He said he's got 16 appearances left or something.
Yeah. Well, here's also the thing. I don't know if you guys read about the backstage, but I heard it was Triple H's decision to release him, and he wasn't happy about. He's not big on fans hijacking the show. He wants them to be fans and sit back. And I've been a huge supporter of Triple H. I don't agree with him on this, but I heard that he wasn't too happy. That's why Nick Khan had to call him R-Truth, because R-Truth was ignoring phone calls from WWE, wouldn't take them, and they had to have Khan personally call him to get the deal done. But I heard Triple H was not happy about it.
But like you said, I mean, he's always gotten over well, and I'm sure his merchandise does good and stuff like that. But at what point do you got to say, dude, you're 53 years old? Like, how much longer do we carry, the rapping goofy guy that doesn't have a memory thing on? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, maybe it was time for a change. We'll just see how it goes over. I don't know.
In 6 months, are we going to say it was a bad decision because WWE signed him to a 3-year deal? He's probably getting $750,000 a year. You know what I'm saying?
I'd say at least, man. He might have even got up to $1 million to buy, because $1 million ain't as much as it used to be, man.
But they have to do something meaningful with them now. You cannot wait because, as they say, the iron is hot. You got to strike while the iron is hot. But I agree with what you guys are saying. Outside of Cena, who they just threw in with Punk, like I said, unless they would have had him turn heel on Jey Uso and then him win the title, I just don't know what there is. What you're going to throw him in when he's this white hot. You have to do something now. And if you're going to put a belt on him, now is the time. You can't wait. And I feel like
But do they need to let this Ron Killings character unfold a little bit before they throw him into a heavy feud?
No,
You
I
know,
don't
like
think-
that's the thing. Like,
no matter what he does, I don't think anything he does is going to make him hotter than what he is right now. Which is
I agree. Yeah.
No, and he only
Yeah.
got hot. Like I said, he is entertaining. He's a fan favorite. He was a low card guy, but he only got hot because they got rid of him.
Well, he was hot when they got rid
Yeah,
of him.
no,
he had
that
the
was-
number one selling shirt, which he stole from
Yeah.
John Cena, and it said Ron Cena. But he only got hot because he worked with Cena, and he was. I thought he was hilarious in the Judgment Day shit when they were doing that.
Yes, I love it. I love him. I love him there. I think he's entertaining. That's why we go back to the point to where we don't know how it's going to go when he's trying to be serious. Whereas the fans maybe thought they were getting our truth back, and now we got the other version back. And
I think the
That's-
fans hoodwinked WWE into signing him to this deal, and I think that in the end, this is going to be something that WWE is going to end up regretting, and it's going to hurt guys in the future when something like this happens, and the fans speak up. I don't think that they're going to be so likely to listen to him because they push for this.
especially if Triple H is in the background saying, "I told you so."
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
where's the love for Carlito, who just got released?
Eh,
I know, but
And
they were using before the shit with John Cena, which was just at Saturday Night's main event in May. Before that, R-Truth hadn't been used in months.
no, but I still think that his character carries more weight than Carlito.
I don't know. Carlito was pretty funny too in the Judgment Day.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
You probably
I mean, more than just that,
but he's
somebody
pretty
like-
funny.
like, I heard that they were already making a movement for LA Knight. That they've been pushing hard. Fans have been for what's his name, Bennett, with Scarlett.
Cross.
Yeah, Cross and stuff. And so
That
Like,
poor guy.
if
He's
this
worth
fails-
LA Knight. At least they
and I
put
like Cross. I do.
they
I
put
like Cross.
they put LA Knight at least in matches. Cross has not been done nothing with.
No, but he came out hot after WrestleMania when he made that that promo or whatever on that after WrestleMania show. And
Well,
so he got hot.
that's something that the WWE's always been pretty good at, man, is always being able to keep their talent involved. And that was one thing that I hated about AEW was because they would bring new talent in and then they would bury them immediately because new guys were signing, and it was just they were getting too many people in it at such a rapid pace. They weren't able to build these guys up, but Cross was one of their guys that came from there that was built up there. And didn't he come from AEW or
No,
did he
no,
come from
NXT.
NXT?
He was
Okay.
in NXT, he had been TNA. But here's what I'm going to say. WWE has dropped the ball, and they just did it not too long ago when they pulled this awesome thing out with New Day when they turned on Big E and everything else, and we were all like, holy shit, because it was so good. They dropped the ball with that, and I feel like there's only a few things that you could do with Ron Killings right now, and if they don't do them, and you have to do them kind of quick because he is so white hot, I just don't know if this is going to translate. You know what I'm saying? So if they don't do something, and like I said, there's only a few things. Cena's a big one, or unless you're going to push him as a baby face and have him instantly go with Gunther, I mean, I just don't know what else there would be that would wow us. And that's what it's all about. You got to wow the fans.
The only other, I mean, the way he came out with the fans and stuff, he's clearly babyface. But the only thing you could do is swerve everybody and do something where he joins Seth Rollins' faction right now, which is like the biggest bad guy situation. And no one would see it coming, and it would keep him relevant.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that faction grow and be so big that it's like the unstoppable force. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
no, you don't. But I'm telling you, in wrestling history, it's usually 4 guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're looking for a 4th guy.
Do you think that maybe he goes after Dominic because of the whole Judgment Day thing, and they put him through, and so
I don't think so because of that'd be too back to the joke character. I think if they're smart, I think they want to get as far away from that shit as possible.
No, if he's doing this thing, this Ron Killings, you have him go up to the Intercontinental title with Mysterio, and you have him be serious. He's not calling him. He's not saying.
I don't think you get much out of it.
So I mean,
I don't think you get much return in your payoff if you do that.
Nah, and then you got the rest of Judgment Day jumping R-Truth. I don't see it paying off much, man. I don't see it carrying much interest.
And I don't see them hot potatoing the world title and having Gunther lose it to him. And then if you don't do that, then it's like we said, there's nowhere to go but Cena, maybe Punk if he turned on him, or Gunther for the world title. Like with how
I think
hot he is right now,
I think you might see Gunther turn face after this. Really.
I hear that he's getting up to do the final match with the retirement match for Goldberg, and they set that in stone.
Well, they got Rollins on the back burner. There's been a couple times, and think about this lead up with Jay, where he was a heel, he lost at WrestleMania, and think about the lead up. He has not really been so heel. He actually came out, congratulated Jay, said he was a good wrestler, said he beat him man to man, said he was a great man.
I think he makes a better heel than he does a face.
Unless you put him against Seth and a whole bunch of heels.
Hey, here you go.
Yeah.
For Ron Killings. Ron Killings, Gunther, Ron Killings wins, and Seth cashes in right afterwards and takes that belt off of him. And then the fans got sympathy for Killings because he got to hold that belt only for, 3 minutes, whatever. And he got it. He got his world title, and you keep him hot that way. That's, he can battle with Rollins.
That's not intriguing, though. I don't even find that as intriguing.
Well, I'm just saying, what do you do with them? You brought him back.
I find it more intriguing. How I was thinking about it is Gunther turns face, and not because Gunther turns face, just because I said the little things he's been saying about Jay, you're this and that, you're good at this. He also told Jay, hey, you're stupid for taking these many matches and helping out all your friends. So then you get Gunther to help out Jay somehow. You got Seth coming after his title, and then maybe you put R-Truth fucking with him, and at the last minute, R-Truth swerves them to join that faction. That makes more sense to me. To make Rollins.
Well, you understand, it's only 3 weeks. It's only 3 weeks till Clash of Champions in Saudi Arabia or whatever, Night of Champions.
And but I'm looking more of Money in the Bank, or not Money in the Bank, but King of the Ring. He's gonna be that other guy in King of the Ring.
I thought it's called Night of Champions.
There is Night of Champions, but there's King of the Ring too.
Yeah, but
there is one
person that hasn't been named for that yet. It's a mystery.
There's one left, and they left it open for him.
That's possibly. I feel like you have him turn on.
No, that's 100% what's going to happen next week. The mystery person, the one that's left on Raw, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Look, y'all can keep going with this. I'm gonna jump off here, but
we're gonna go ahead and end it.
I'll holler at you guys.
All right, bub. Well, guys, thanks for listening. We talked a little LA riots. We talked some NBA basketball. We talked some Aaron Rodgers, and we ended with a little pro wrestling. So, Bennett, anything else you want to say before we go?
Now, keep your guns close to your chest, people. Protect yourself from riots.
All right. I remember we had a wrestler named Riot years ago. Remember that, dude?
Oh,
anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Terrible.
Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe. And you never know when we're going to pop back on here. We'll see you guys.
Peace.